Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Manager Mom Epidemic. How Moms Got Stuck Doing Everything for Their Families and What They Can Do About It, by Thomas W. Phelan, Ph.D. Narrated by Mike Chamberlain. Publisher's Note: in this audio edition, you will hear references to tables and charts present in the print and e-book formats of the book. Introduction. Do you feel like the family nag? Do you enjoy being the family nag? I'm sure you don't. But over the course of 40 years working with families, I've observed a huge number of mothers, both those who work outside the home and those who don't, who spend most of their time every day managing the logistics of their families, shopping for and cooking meals, cleaning up, helping with homework, scheduling appointments, reminding their children and husbands to go to those appointments. It seems never-ending. Why do these moms take on all this work? Because they feel like if they don't do it, no one will, and the day-to-day functioning of the family will fall apart. Does this sound like you? If so, you've come to the right place. Many American families are living with a condition I call the Manager Mom Syndrome, which is just what I described earlier. A household run almost exclusively by mom. Why is that a bad thing? Well, mom is tired. Mom is overwhelmed. Mom has her own life to live, and maybe she would like to do something with her free time other than attend to the details of her family members' lives. Before we go any further, I must acknowledge that not every American family consists of the mom, dad, kids framework I use as the basis of this book. Many families are run by single parents. Many others are run by two women or by two men. Many families are formed through adoption, fertility assistance, or some other plan other than biological conception between two married, heterosexual adults. The diversity of the families in our country is something to be recognized and celebrated, and I hope that every type of parent finds something useful to take away from the Manager Mom Epidemic. The content of this book is driven by normative data of large populations, which overwhelmingly shows that families headed by heterosexual parents fall into a pattern in which the woman handles the majority of the daily responsibilities. Much has been written in the past several years about the mental load or emotional labor that is borne by mothers, and this book is a contribution to that conversation. If you are a father who finds himself shouldering the majority of the burden, or you are in a same-sex relationship, I hope the concepts and takeaways of this book help you create a happier, more equal family, and that the language used throughout, for convenience, doesn't stand in the way of the benefits this book strives to provide. So, what is the Manager Mom Syndrome? It is an unwitting conspiracy between mom, dad, and the kids, who all believe that, in general, if the work of running the household is going to get done now and get done right, mom has to do it. The good news is that this belief isn't true, and the happiest families share the work and the fun equally without too much of the burden falling onto any single person. So, if you're tired of being the one who always schedules the dentist appointments, buys presents for birthday parties, and handles the emotional labor of remembering, planning, scheduling, reminding, and reminding again, it's time to fire Manager Mom. Let's get started. What does the Manager Mom Syndrome feel like? Ella: I'm so tired. I have to do everything by myself. I was up till 11 last night doing laundry, and that was after getting the kids to bed. My husband likes his alone time at night after working all day. Haley: it's 9:15 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Haley has been up since 5:30 a.m. entertaining and feeding her two kids, 2-month-old Carter and 14-month-old Owen. Husband Grant is still asleep, snoring peacefully. Haley resolves that next week she is going to find more time for herself, one way or another. Will her husband want breakfast when he gets up? Why can't he get his own? Aubrey: at least 60 times per day, Aubrey wonders whether or not she is a good mother. She remembers hearing a speaker once who mentioned a concept known as total motherhood. This was the idea that all the responsibilities for child rearing rested solely on the shoulders of the mother of the house. Aubrey feels that's the way things are in her home. She has one child, 5-year-old Taylor, but her husband spends time with the child only on the weekends, and that's mainly engaging in fun activities, not the child care basics such as bathing, dressing, feeding, and so on. Abigail: I'd love to go out at night, but I can't imagine just being gone from home for 3 hours straight. And I can tell you this, I'd feel really funny just announcing that I'm leaving the house for a long time for the sole purpose of hanging out with a friend. Kylie. Kylie is hunkered down at a motel just 8 miles from her home. She told her family she was taking a week off and going on strike. She left her husband, 8-year-old daughter, and 12-year-old son at home to fend for themselves. Kylie explained, while trying to suppress her resentment, that she was tired of being what she called the family gopher. Cook, babysitter, laundromat manager, picker-upper, toilet scrubber, scheduler, chauffeur, you name it. Secretly, Kylie hopes the family will feel an appropriate sense of guilt, come to appreciate all the services Mom has offered, and change their ways when she returns from her vacation. Janelle. Friday is my laundry day. I get it started after I get home from work. Do you think the kids and Dad can take the time from their busy schedules to get their stuff down to the laundry room? Guess again. No, don't think so. I nag and nag, which I don't enjoy. Then half the time I have to get their dirty clothes myself. No one is happy. Although you might think that Mom might be the only one upset about Manager Mom syndrome, everyone in the family has issues with these mom directs all scenarios. Kids don't like being told what to do all the time, and they become more uncooperative, forgetful, and resistant the more nagging they hear. Psychologists sometimes call this passive-aggressive behavior. Dad gets tired of listening to arguments between his spouse or partner and the children, and he tends to pull back and, in some ways, disappear. How long does it take to read the sports page in the bathroom? Of course, the biggest victim of the Manager Mom syndrome is Mom. In this kind of family setup, Mom justifiably feels taken advantage of and overloaded. Mothers, particularly those with small children, feel anxious. Can we get all the chores done today? Resentful. Why doesn't anyone around here help out? Guilty. Am I a good mom? And depressed. Is this my life? Mom's mental health takes a beating. As one mother puts it, with all these people and all this activity, I feel as though I've lost myself. How? Here's one example. In 1980, Gerald R. Patterson wrote a paper called Mothers, the Unacknowledged Victims. That book was written, surprisingly, before a lot of mothers started working outside the home part-time and then, more and more, full-time. Patterson pointed out, after extensive research, that mothers of normal preschoolers are regularly exposed to high densities of aversive events. In other words, raising these cute little creatures, pretty much alone, is a tough and often unpleasant job. Arlie Hochschild's well-known work, The Second Shift, Working Families and the Revolution at Home, originally published in 1989, highlighted another version of the stress on moms. Hochschild pointed out that even when men and women both worked outside the home, Mom tended to do a second shift on evenings and weekends that included taking care of most of the primary childcare, secondary childcare, and housework responsibilities. In her 2018 book, Fed Up, Emotional Labor, Women, and the Way Forward, Gemma Hartley adds another twist to this picture by describing how the current domestic scenario actually adds insult to injury for mothers. First of all, direct primary childcare is usually a very difficult kind of mental or emotional labor. Though it has its rewards, it is also a kind of unremitting and lonely drudgery. Second, primary childcare with very young kids does not receive anywhere near the kind of social support and recognition that working outside the home provides. What is the Manager Mom syndrome? When all is said and done, the manager mom syndrome is a kind of maternal addiction, and dad, partner, and kids are the passive enablers of the obsession. Oddly enough, and you can look at the problem through different lenses, mom is often addicted to an occupation that has a number of positive descriptors. President, servant, commander, crisis manager, and first responder, for example, come to mind. Those roles are usually considered positive ones. But in filling these roles, manager mom overdoses on kindness, helpfulness, organizational skills, and commitment to getting the work done. In the process of expressing these normally constructive traits, mom loses her healthy free time and herself. What about the enablers, the other members of the family? Well, if mom wants to take responsibility for everything, fine. Often other family members will simply let mom take over, thus unwittingly and inadvertently sacrificing their own independence and competence. When the manager mom syndrome goes untreated and the behavior of its active, moms, and passive, dads and kids, conspirators, continues unchecked, the syndrome sometimes morphs into its absolute worst expression, martyr mom. This condition is especially difficult to deal with, because among its symptoms is the fact that as time passes, more and more, the participants in the drama start to enjoy their own misery. Fortunately, manager mom syndrome is a curable condition. For that remedy to materialize, though, both moms and dads need to hear some things they don't really want to hear. Then both moms and dads need to do some things that they might not really want to do, at least for a while. And, surprise, surprise, the kids have to be included in some meaningful way. The process can sometimes be extremely difficult, but the effort is usually worth it. Living in a household where mom's angry organizational dominance and constant supervision seem to be a requirement for smooth operation is not good for anyone's mental health or for the happiness of the family as a whole. Chapter Summary. 3 concepts: kids' independence, equal suffering law, family bonding. Eradicate manager mom. Part 1. How did we get here? The origins and side effects of manager mom. 1. Interpersonal bonding versus the frantic modern family. Once manager mom is in operation, its side effects start reinforcing the syndrome itself, locking everyone into a kind of powerful and self-perpetuating vicious circle. In this chapter, we'll discuss the family bonding part of the manager mom problem. Warmth and affection. Goals. One of the deepest and most universal human needs is to have close and affectionate relationships with the people you live with. That means to both know them and to like them. In my experience, the vast majority of high school students admit to wanting a good family life in the future. Now, if normally oppositional teens admit to such a need, it must be a powerful one. This future interpersonal goal of adolescence is right on the money for good reason. In addition to finding other people fun and enjoyable to be with, volumes of research consistently indicate that both physical and mental health are much better when people experience warm and friendly connections at home. As part of their goal to live happily with others, the vast majority of human beings also want to become parents. They want to raise a couple of those adorable little tykes. Having children and becoming a parent does provide a deep sense of meaning and purpose to the lives of many people. Whether they actually have them or not, about 95% of adults say they want or did want children. That's an amazingly universal statistic. In fact, if you are in the business of dating and you don't want to have kids, it is considered very bad form to not reveal your preference early on in any relationship. Warmth and affection. Realities. In spite of this universal goal and deep desire for affectionate, live-in family relationships, we humans don't seem to be very skilled at getting what we want. When it comes to family affection, warmth, and bonding, we don't seem to do well at all. Consider this data. 41% of first marriages end in divorce. 60% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages end in divorce. This is really sad. All of us want closeness and affection at home, but we don't seem to be very good at achieving that goal. What specifically is going wrong? And does the manager-mom syndrome relate to whatever is causing the trouble? Let's examine the process by which most of us create our families. Step 1. Finding Mr. or Ms. Right. If you're like most people, somewhere in your adolescent or post-adolescent years, you came across another person whom you thought was fun to be with. Your mutual activities involved doing lots of fun things, dating, and probably also involved lots of genuine two-way conversations, often until early in the morning. After a short while, it's very likely that your relationship also started including the potential narcotic, sex. All this horsing around may have triggered in you another instinct that we refer to as falling in love. Falling in love refers to a mental state characterized by a desire to be with another person constantly, a tendency to idealize that other person, and a deep conviction that if you could ever live with that other person full time, you'd never have another care in the world again. This wonderful mental state, which psychologist Dorothy Tenoff called limerence, lasts on average about 2 years. Whether or not you actually felt like you were in love, not all do. During this dating process, you were bonding with another human being. 1. Your experiences with them were by far mostly positive. 2. These pleasant experiences were frequent. 3. They were mutual and often very intense. 4. These positive experiences could last for long periods of time. During this period, your new relationship cast a cheery glow over the rest of your life. After being apart for a while, your greetings were energetically warm, intense, and friendly, and you actively sought to maximize your time with each other. Step 2. More. You were now ready to make a monumental decision, the decision to live together or get married. Off you go. Though you did not know it at the time, as far as the health of your relationship went, this is one of the most dangerous decisions anyone can make. Studies consistently show that after getting married or starting to live together, a person's satisfaction with both their partner and their relationship begins its first steady decline. The second decline will come in just a bit. Most of us, however, at the time we get married or move in, are not thinking along these lines. Our thoughts go more like this. Just think how much fun we're having now. And we're not even together all the time. After we live in the same home and pursue the same dreams, our fun will double or even triple. Wow, I can't wait. Moving in or getting married does have its rewards. There's no problem getting together anymore, and now you don't have to split up every night. But there's a catch. Step 3. The Catch, Part 1. The happily ever after scenario is about to stumble over an unpleasant truth. Your decision to live together will transform your relationship by altering its fundamental premise. While dating was a decision to have fun together, living together or getting married is unwittingly a decision to work together. Now we'll try to get ahead. We'll buy cars. We'll find a nice place to live. We'll get sick and care for one another, visit the families, and do the chores. There is no guarantee that a good partner for fun will make a good partner for work. A fun-to-work switch like this might take the wind out of any relationship's sails, and of course, it often does. Gradually, and sometimes not so gradually, the time spent on work, shopping, in-laws, finances, and everything else starts eating away at the time spent enjoying each other's company. The household heavy hitters, laundry, food and drink preparation, kitchen cleanup, house cleaning, and household management, start to take their toll. You wake up one morning, look over at the person in bed next to you, and think, "You're not as much fun as you used to be." You did not expect this change. Admit it, a large part of you hoped for happily ever after. Even if you had been aware of the research on the decline in marital satisfaction, it's likely you would have felt sure those negative trends would not apply to you. So what happened? In pursuing all your dreams, the priority of work, shared tasks and separate tasks, replaced the priority of shared fun. Your experiences with one another changed to this. 1. The mutual experiences were less positive. 2. The positive experiences were less frequent. 3. The good experiences were less intense. 4. The upbeat experiences lasted for shorter periods of time. In addition, for many couples, move-in time is when the manager mom syndrome begins to creep into the picture. Most people moving in together have full-time jobs, but now they potentially share the household heavy hitters: laundry, food and drink preparation, kitchen cleanup, house cleaning, and household management. In my experience, where a guy has been on his own for a number of years, he is more likely to continue to do his own laundry and to enjoy cooking and some shopping. He is less likely to clean the kitchen and much less likely to clean the house, dust, vacuum, scrub toilets, etc. With these problems, men are not as likely to be first responders. Women are likely to be first responders, and in the absence of constructive household division of labor negotiations, which usually do not occur, more tasks are likely to default to the female of the species. In fact, at move-in time, many women are thrilled to do laundry for two, shop for two, cook for two, clean the kitchen, and clean the house. The for-two part is fun, and it represents a milestone in life. The new man of the house thinks, "This is cool," and he reverts to a more traditional, household passive male role. After not too long, however, the new milestone becomes an old millstone for his wife or partner, who begins to feel that she is always rushing frantically from chore to chore. Step 4. The Catch, Part 2, and Baby Makes 3. Unfortunately, at this developmental stage, reality is not done with you. Things are about to get tougher. The vast majority of adults choose to have children. In our culture, we romanticize having kids. The cover of your favorite magazine trumpets superstar actress Carrie Jones expecting twins. She's so excited. Adults produce children in response to one or more of a whole collection of positive images that evoke upbeat and pleasant feelings. Giving your parents grandchildren, reading a story at bedtime and snuggling, carrying on your family, social pressure, expectations, giving and receiving love, coaching your child's baseball team, embodying your love for one another, etc. Earlier, I mentioned that in this book, you will hear some things you don't want to hear. Here's another unfortunate fact. Having children speeds up the drop in marital or relationship satisfaction. A lot. Over the first 4 years of marriage, for example, the decline in marital satisfaction for parents is double that for non-parents. The negative effects of that cute little bundle of joy are sudden and persistent, and studies show that it is mainly living at home with the children that interferes with adults' sense of well-being. Kids, in other words, are very hard to live with, even if they are cute as the dickens, and we love them very much. Having kids is 1,000 times easier said than done, but not one of us appreciates that reality beforehand. You simply can't. Many couples still believe, as a matter of fact, that having a baby will bring them closer together. But bringing a new child home is a kind of new awakening that causes permanent and revolutionary changes. With the arrival of a first child, both parents lose a ton of their autonomy. A crying baby is no fun, and neither is getting up in the middle of the night. After going through what amounts to major surgery to have the child, Mom is tired all the time. Dad feels like he has lost his best friend, his wife. There's less or no sex. The baby is always there. Couples tend to inevitably take their baby frustrations out on each other, and they also say and do fewer pleasurable things to and for each other after the baby arrives. Manager Mom Syndrome intensifies. In short, bringing home that first baby is traumatic for a couple. With a new baby, the change in the basis of the relationship from fun to work accelerates. The workload itself mushrooms, and mom-dad bonding suffers accordingly. With diapers, feedings, laundry, and other childcare items, the manager mom phenomenon starts to emerge as mothers respond to the handling of these items much more naturally and spontaneously than dads do. Sleep deprivation also makes mom's plight worse, since mothers are also more likely to attend to kids' bedtime and nighttime waking problems. As kids get older, behavioral issues will add to parental and marital stress. One parental problem is controlling negative behavior, and another issue is encouraging good behavior. As happens with housework, mom is usually more on the front lines than dad when it comes to managing the following: negative behavior, arguing, yelling, whining, teasing, tantrums, pouting, lying, sibling rivalry. Positive behavior, bedtime, homework, getting up and out in the morning, chores, eating, picking up, sleeping through the night, bathing and brushing teeth. Some writers feel that child behavior problems may be the #1 cause of arguments between parents. Child discipline squabbles can also be aggravated by the fact that many times neither parent has any idea what he or she is doing when it comes to behavior management. Bonding and the frantic modern family. All this work-related and child-related stress often makes for a rushed and frantic household. What happens to the mom-dad bonding? A couple's affection for one another is still there, but it's weaker and it's not getting strengthened as often or as intensely as it used to. The warmth of a parent's relationship with each other no longer casts a cheerful glow over the rest of each person's life. After time apart, greetings are less energetic, warm, or friendly, and this change is noticeable to other people. Finally, maximizing time together is no longer a priority for moms and dads. It may not even be an issue anymore, since there is a good chance that both spouses or partners feel overdosed on family, including the baby. What about parent-child bonding? Our data here present us with a strange paradox. As we learned, about 95% of adults say they want or would have wanted children, and in spite of all the stresses kids bring, a similar percentage of parents say they would have children again if they had the choice. In other words, having kids responds to a deep human need and adds profound meaning to an adult's life. The vast majority of parents love their kids very much. The paradox, however, is that, in spite of that love and that profound meaning, living with and bonding with kids is problematic and stressful. In one study, for example, researchers asked 909 working women what activities gave them the most pleasure. Out of 19 possible activities, childcare ranked low, 16th out of 19th, right behind housework. In another study, parents were asked, "Whose company do you enjoy most?" Here, children came in last behind friends, spouses, relatives, acquaintances, and one's own parents. Being with one's children was ranked the same as being with strangers. For parents, in other words, kids are a high-reward, high-cost phenomenon. One of the costs is a couple's transition from being lovers to being parents. Another cost is the change in focus from enjoying each other to getting all the work done. Both of those changes go a long way toward explaining why we humans aren't so good at family bonding. To sustain a relationship, you need to play hard with your friend, lover, or child on a regular basis. Modern family life doesn't leave much time for fun, especially when manager mom syndrome takes over. Mom-dad bonding issues and parent-child bonding issues are a big part of the vicious cycle that is the manager mom syndrome. So is another issue we call the equal suffering law, which we'll examine next. Chapter Summary. Our culture tends to unrealistically romanticize the notion of having children. Why? because adults don't like to feel like they're criticizing innocent little kids, and also because children can be so cute.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?